My name is Nilupa Yasmin and I'm an artist based in Birmingham. My work is primarily lens-based, so photography is the main medium that I use when exploring my art form. I'm very interested in the way photography can be used within many mixed mediums. I am very interested in the craft notion and how I can potentially weave my images or cut up and change the layer and surface of my images. The first time I visited the New Art Gallery Walsall was from a recommendation my college lecturer had given me. One thing I found really interesting and exciting about Walsall was the fact that there was always a very diverse range of artists or exhibitions that were currently on, and no matter every time that I visited, there was always something that I've picked up on, or there's always something that I hadn't known of before. And I think that's always been really exciting, because sometimes you visit a space and you find that it's the same names or it's the same style of work that's been exhibited. Walsall was the first place where I found that I could see artists who were dealing with the different kind of themes and issues that I was in my work. It felt nice to be a part of a space that was representing many different forms. And I think for me, that's something that always struck me whenever I'd visit Walsall. One of the most memorable pieces that I know of from the Walsall Art Gallery was when Idris Khan was exhibiting his work, and I was at the time a third year photography student on my first degree. I wasn't intending to see his work, but I had just gone in to visit and I came across his work, and it was very, very exciting to be in that atmosphere and in that space, and to actually understand what the work was about and to be able to resonate and relate to a lot of the themes he was speaking about. His work is one that inspired my large-scale installation that I ended up producing as part of my degree show, and it spoke about this idea of space and how you can create this whole element of identity and belonging from the way you position yourself. And I think it's something that's always struck with me, and it's probably one of those pieces that I've always felt that I'd want to be exhibiting in a space like this that allows work like Idris Khan's to be exhibited and to have a space. Obviously he's a big name, so he'd be anywhere, but I think for me it was something that was, I'm from Birmingham, so to have a space that's local and that's not London, that's kind of exhibiting something so big and so memorable, it was exciting to be in at the time. I was initially approached to be part of the To Richer Soil exhibition, which was a partnership with Grain and the New Art Gallery Walsall. The exhibition featured 3 female artists. I was one, alongside Arpita Shah and Mariam Wahid. Our works considered these themes of identity and belonging and this whole aspect of what it means to be a woman in today's day in society. I found that when I first came in to have my initial meeting about the work, I was really supported in the work that I ended up creating. Walsall was very keen on the idea that I get to choose and have that autonomy in what is exhibited in this space, and being an emerging artist and being in this part and this point of my career, it was very important to get that kind of autonomy on my part to be able to decide what goes up on a space. The series of work that I created is called Fuldani, which means flower in a vase in Bengali, and the work speaks about this whole concept of femininity and how we perceive women in such a way to almost confine them in societal norms. The series was inspired by an essay I was reading at the time called The Vindication of Women's Rights by Mary Wollstonecraft. And in that essay, she compares women to flora, but also speaks about how they are planted into too rich a soil. And when you read on, you realise that that is actually a connotation for society and the way we plant women to abide by the way society wants them to. And I think that's kind of what struck me at the time of reading this essay, and I felt that I needed to visually document that in some way. I ended up creating self-portraits which were overlaid with images of flora that I photographed on my time away in America. The photographs were actually taken in my auntie and my grandparents' gardens, and in many ways I found that it spoke about this whole idea of migration and how women move after marriage from one country to another country, and that's almost expected as a norm, and how it's this whole idea behind the space that they create. And I think that's something that was important in the work that I made. When I was first approached, I was given a bit of an overview on what the project is and what as an artist is expected from me. And I think I read the new art gallery Walsall and I was like, yeah, I'll do it, it's fine. And I think it was really exciting because it wasn't that they were commissioning me to make work for a certain project or for something that they wanted out of it, but it was more the fact that they recognized me as an artist, and especially as an emerging artist, and especially being quite local to the space and having visited for so many years, the fact that this gallery wants to exhibit my work, it was very exciting. And I think it was something that was quite memorable, and it's always going to be something that I consider to be one of my own personal achievements, to be able to say that I exhibited in the new art gallery Walsall. I previously visited my old college where my lecturer still teaches at, and I remember turning up and telling Sean I'm exhibiting at the new art gallery Walsall, and he just looked at me and he was like, you're what? And I was like, and I think it was that reaction that kind of, it hits you that, oh God, this is big, and this is important. And I think with the nature of my work, being able to have that voice heard on that wall is very important, because I know that the new art gallery Walsall will have a whole wide range of visitors who come into that space on a daily basis, on a monthly basis. And I think just to be able to have that work up there that will leave at least one visitor feeling something, or actually having one visitor connect with that work in some way, is very important. I think for me it's making the work, which is great, but it's also what interaction happens after you've made the work. And I think that's something that having the work exhibited at Walsall has been, because it's given me that interaction, whether it's been social media interaction, whether it's been a school group that have come in, or whether or not it's been women from every walks of life walking into the exhibition and seeing the work that's there. I think it's the fact that it connects to everybody. I think for me, when I was first approached, it was quite scary, because it's such a big gallery space, and it's something that as a student I've known of, and now suddenly I'm an artist, and it's that shift that you get from being a visitor to being an artist and being asked to exhibit, and that gives you a sense of validation for your own work. And I think that validation kind of increased when I was asked to have my work exhibited as part of the 20 for 2020 exhibition. And I think the idea that a gallery space actually wanted to buy my work and put it as part of their collection is something that is, I think I still can't believe it when I say it myself. And the fact that it's a piece from the Fuldani series, which I created and was first exhibited at Walsall. And I think that series in particular, I received a lot of help and guidance from Walsall and from Grain, who were both in conjunction with the work being made. And I think just getting that support that I got from the new art gallery Walsall is something that was it was very helpful at the time. And I think it was something that I know without that guidance and that help, I wouldn't have been able to produce that work. And sometimes it's just that reassurance that you get that the work is needed and the work makes sense to someone that's not just you. And I think Deborah and Hannah very clearly did that for me, and it was something that they were constantly pushing at. And I think it's also that idea behind how if it's not working, they would tell me it's not working, or if there was something that were like, okay, you're onto something here. I got both of that. And I think to be able to get that from a space that's not like an institution, an educational institution, but rather like from industry, it's quite important, it's quite special in a way. And I think it's very meaningful for me to know that they've purchased pieces from the Fuldani series, and the fact that I created the Fuldani series in many ways with help from them. So I think that's something that for me it's like a full circle, and it's come back around, that it started off here and now it's almost going to be a part of here forever. And I think that's the thing about collections and being a part of a public space, where this work is exhibited here and now in 2020, but it can be exhibited next year again, or in 5 years or in 10 years time. And I think it's obviously, I don't know where my art career is going to be at that time, but just to know that that work will always be seen and will have a life on. And I think the fact that I will always have that connection to the new art gallery Walsall, that's important for me.